Hi, thank you so much for joining me on my channel, Wildlife Coaching Solutions. My name is Savvy Love Mara, and I am so excited that you decided to take the time to join me, and I am very grateful and thankful. So, the topic that I'm going to be speaking about today is your driving force. So, when looking at this topic, the question that presents itself is, what is your driving force? Do you know what it is? Knowing what your driving force is actually not only necessary, it is mandatory in order to overcome and move through a challenging defining moment. When you're moving from fear to fearlessness, you need to understand what has been your driving force for the whole time. And in most cases, you'll find out that it's actually been fear that has been driving you and allowing you to make decisions and allowing you to go back into patterns that you may not want to be encountering. You know, when we experience a challenging defining moment, and I know this to be true for myself, it never just happened without some other compounding events that took place that brought me to my challenging defining moment. So, for example, it wasn't until I encountered some hardship in relationships, with finances, in my career, that I realized I was being driven by fear for the majority of my life. Now, although I encountered those difficulties and challenges, I was still achieving goals. I was setting goals, achieving them, surpassing expectations, but it was always based upon expectations of what I believed other people would want to see, about what I believed I needed to do, and about how I needed to live my life. So there was that push and pull between what I desired for my joyous outcomes, as well as what society, what my friends, what my family expected of me, and more importantly, what I told myself that my friends, family, and work expected for me. So, what you believe in and what you are driven by will impact the course of your life. You see, your driving force is based upon what you value, what you believe you're worthy of receiving, and therefore it has this impact. And the fact that we are constantly being influenced by different energy, by different forces, by different individuals, it might as well make sense to take the time to understand what is actually impacting you. When you're looking at being driven by fear, you will experience some common things such as anxiety, a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, a lot of being constricted and confined to a certain pattern. And that is why it says, stepping outside of the box is where you actually find that form of freedom. But I like to say, just break down that box and, that therefore it allows other people to step out of the box if they choose, and creates in a way to do that. So I just wanted to come back to the driving force, because this is what will show what it is that inspires you or what makes you fearful. So thinking about your own life, what are you being driven by? What kind of fuel are you putting in your vehicle that's taking you through your life path journey? So, as I mentioned, in order to bring some recognition to this, it takes some time of looking at where you are right now and working your way backwards to where you were before. When you're experiencing a challenging defining moment, this might be very difficult to do, but it's through breaking those cycles that we actually open a little path, and over time it becomes bigger and bigger, but opens that path for us to have a different kind of thinking so that we're able to make those shifts and let go of some of the things that we were doing before. You see, being driven by inspiration allows you to become that student of life and be open to the learning process, open to learning from other people, open to learning new things that you may have not even believed you were capable of doing in the past. But fear doesn't allow that for you. And that's why I promote, and why Life Coaching Solution promotes, moving from fear to fearlessness. So how do you get there? As I mentioned, it requires really looking at these patterns, examining them for what they are. You see, when individuals or major companies, organizations, and governments and just on a bigger scale are going through a crisis, there's always a team that's set in place that's able to have a crisis response plan, and they're able to implement it when they're going through a situation. As individuals, it becomes not the average for individuals to be doing this, because there is an idea that you live day by day and not really look into the future. But I like to say, look into your future and be in the present moment, but they go hand in hand. It's also similar to looking at your decision making and your consequences. A lot of people, and I hold myself accountable for doing this in my past, is jump into a decision but not really look at the consequences, or overweigh the consequences and not be able to make any decisions at all. And there is an art to it, because one of the major operating forces, one of the major operating laws out there, and I would like to say it is the number one, is cause and effect. You reap what you sow. So if you're not looking at the consequences, you might end up making a decision that you regret later on in life. So it's about building memories, and Dr. Miles Monroe spoke about this a lot in his seminars and workshops, and just overall his delivery about what it means to be an active individual in this process of life, but also looking at it using spiritual laws, and I like to implement universal laws as well. So make sure that you are in the driver's seat of your life and having a clear idea what is driving you and what you're putting in that car. What things are you saying to yourself? What kind of things are you thinking? What kind of people are you around, and what kind of energy are you allowing to influence? And not being consciously aware of this or having no intent of figuring this out puts you in a position where you are actually going to put yourself at risk of making decisions and ending up in places that you don't want to be, or not having the ability to break through those cycles that have been manifesting themselves over and over in your life. So being an individual who's able to take control of their lives and also leave room for nature and God to do their part in your lives is where there's the balance. So as I mentioned, when going through a crisis, a challenging defining moment, a midlife crisis, or anything that sets you out of your life course, please know that there is always an opportunity to get back or get to the course that you are seeking to get into. So as I mentioned, knowing what that force is that's driving you is key and mandatory in the school of life, because things are always coming at us. But more important than understanding what you're thinking and what you're consuming is what you are putting out there into the world. What are you saying? Because it is the things that comes out of an individual that actually sets their character and shows who they are and shows what they're thinking and shows how they view this world. So not only paying attention to what you're putting in there, if it's fear, then fear is more than likely going to be the thing that comes out and have the driving force and control over your life. Now, if you are in a crisis or a challenging defining moment, you will definitely understand that when you are making the transition from moving from fear into a level of fearlessness, there is that gap, and in that moment there might be a lot of things that breaks down, that go awry, and that just take you off course and makes you seem like your world is falling apart. But please remember that is part of the process, because your greatest breakthrough, your gift, your promise, and everything that you are asking for and hoping for is on the other side of your challenge, because your challenge has been driven by fear in most cases, and in my case it was driven by fear as well. So in order to break through that wall, in order to get on that other side of that wave, there's going to be some push and pull, but always know that, like, stand firm in what you actually believe your promises, and don't give up fighting for it. Don't give up seeking it. Don't give up in the process of it, because everything is definitely on the other side of it. Now, as I mentioned in some of my other videos, it is okay to give up on conditions, but not giving up on yourself. So check your driving force today, and maybe throughout the rest of the week. Think about what is driving you. What are the thoughts that are running through your mind more than not, because this will establish what your driving force is. And once you identify what something is and bring it to the light, that's always an opportunity to make a course correction from where you are to where your joyous outcomes are and where you desire to be. We go through a lot of suffering and a lot of pain because of the decisions and the consequences that we've made. And as a process of this, these are the things that we compile together and that we hold on to, and then we carry with us throughout our journey. And we never really take the time to let go of it. And I really mean like really let go of those things, making peace with them, bringing them to the surface, not allowing them to be a chain around us and the thing that drives us at another point in our lives, where we're constantly making stops along our journey. And some people like to refer to this as, being the captain of their ship and sailing and going to a different port. But we know that we can't stop at many ports at the same time. And each time we stop, we should be letting off some kind of load that we've been carrying with us. So I hope this video was helpful for anyone who is experiencing a challenging defining moment, a crisis, a midlife crisis, and something that just makes them feel like they have been knocked off their feet or knocked off their course. But please know that you can definitely get back up at any given time, and cause and effect, you reap what you sow. So as long as you change the direction of what you are reaping, you will sow that. It will take time, but you definitely will become that individual, because a man or a woman becomes what they think, right? So open up that cycle that you've been engaging in, where you're repeating those negative thoughts in circles and circles, and just give it a break and invest some more impactful, influential, and positive emotion and energy, as well as words into that. And also remember to speak it, because as I said, you speak these words out into the atmosphere and they become your truth. So I just want to let you know that I am rooting for you no matter where you are on your journey, and I look forward to you joining me again in my next video. So please remember to like and subscribe and comment and turn on your notifications so that you can definitely connect with me to see any of my new upcoming videos. So I appreciate you, and have a great day, and I'll see you soon.